Hi, I'm Kelly from Kelly J Jewellery. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cute ring. I've put a list of everything you'll need in the description below, and I just want to do a quick shout out to all my patrons for your love and support. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you all, and if you want to come and support me, please check out my Patreon. I've got quite a lot of different tiers that you can choose from for different benefits that you can get. And I do exclusive tutorials for the top tier. So thank you all so much for supporting me. I really appreciate you guys. To make this ring, you'll need 0.8mm wire, which is 20 gauge, and I've cut 3 lengths at 11 inches, which is 28 centimetres. You'll need 0.25mm weaving wire, which is 30 gauge. So I'm using a thinner gauge today, but you can use 0.315, which is 28 gauge, if you want to. I've got a little bead today, so I've got a 5mm bead. You can use a different size bead if you want to, it's entirely up to you. Tools, I've got my pliers, round nose pliers, wire cutters and nylon pliers. If you don't have nylon pliers, don't worry. I like having these for, just have them handy for straightening the wires, flattening the weaves. All my tools are, those are Prestige, these are Tronex. I'll put a list of everything in the description below, so let's get started. Got to mention you're going to need a ring mandrel or something the same size as what you're going for to be able to bend the weave around. So to work out your size, get your mandrel, work out the size that you want. Measure around that size with your tape. Take off a centimetre, which is roughly going to be the size of our centrepiece, and that is roughly the size of your band. So we'll use that as a rough, and then we'll make up the band, and then we'll get it back on the mandrel and see if we need to add more repeats or not. Work out your rough band size. Find the centre of your wire, and we'll start working half of that band size to the left of your thumb, so the band will be central on those wires. This is never accurate. I do this as like trying to work out a rough size, and then you have to keep going back to your mandrel and keep checking and adjusting as you go. So take your weaving wire, and we'll start with 3 wraps around the bottom wire. And we'll go 2 wraps around the bottom wire, come up between those 2 wires, and we'll go 2 wraps around the top wire, and that's our repeat. So keep compressing your weave together as you go to keep it all nice and tidy. And I like to flatten my weave too. We need to finish the weave, so we just finish with a few wraps around one of the wires, and we'll cut that wire and press that little cut end down with your pliers. Do that for the other end too. I know what my band size is going to be. If you're not sure about your band size, it's best not to cut those ends off, but to cut them off in a minute. So shape your band around your mandrel to the size that you want, and we'll work out if you need to add more repeats or not. So once you've got your band around your mandrel, you need about a centimetre gap there across the middle. So if your gap is larger or smaller, add or take repeats until you have a nice sort of about a centimetre gap in the middle there. So looking at your 3 wires, we're going to scoop this wire up. We're going to take the second wire, we're going to press it back, and the third wire we're also going to scoop up. So it scoops around, so you've got a gap in between the wires, and then it comes up to meet that wire at the top. And then we'll turn it around and we'll do the same. So you take your top wire and that scoops up. And then take your second wire, and that wire goes back for now. And your third wire scoops up, and then it meets the top wire, so you've got a gap between the wires, and then they come together. We're going to take this inner wire, we're going to cross it over. We're going to take this inner wire and we're going to cross it over. So those wires definitely come together, top and bottom, where they cross. And now we're going to add our bead. So take your weaving wire and cut off about 6 inches, something like that. We're going to attach our bead to these 2 inner wires here. So wrap a few times around one of those wires. Slide it down. To be kind of central there. Pop the bead onto that wire. So make sure the gap is big enough for your bead to fit in there. Then we're going to wrap 3 times around the opposite wire there. Then we're going to go back through the bead. Give it a pull so it's nice and secure. And then we're going to wrap around this wire a few times. And if you can, we're going to go back through the bead again so it is really solid. I've got a lovely bit of green tiger's eye on my bead. Pull on the wire so it's nice and tight. And then finish with a few wraps around the opposite wire. Cut that wire off at both ends and press down your little cut ends. So we're now going to weave across the 2 wires. So take your weaving wire and we'll attach to the bottom wire, which was the top wire, and I've crossed them over. So wrap 3 times. Slide it down to where the wires cross. And just weaving across the 2 wires, we go around the 2 wires, come up between, wrap around the top wire, wrap around the bottom wire, and that's our repeat. So you go around the 2, come up between, around the top one, around the bottom one. So I've done about 1.5 centimeters of weave. Keep pushing it together as you go to keep it all nice. Cut that little tail end off from the beginning. And press down that little cut end. So I'm not sure if we'll need to add any more weave or not. So what we'll do, we'll cut the wire, but we'll leave a little bit of length just in case we need to add or take repeats from that top weave. So we might as well weave the bottom weave. So turn it around, and we're going to do exactly the same. Match up your wires, and we're going to do the same weave for the same length on this side too. So I've done the weave on that end, and I don't know where I was looking when I measured the weave on the other side, because it's not 1.5, it's more like 2 centimeters. So I've done 2 centimeters on this side as well. What we're going to do now, we're going to grip that weave at the top there, and we're going to bend it over the front. So put your finger behind it as you bend it, and then we're going to scoop it out to the side. So then as it comes across the band, it scoops up like that. And then we're going to do the same with the other side. So grip the wires. If you grip them just after where you started the weave, so the weave doesn't move, and then hold the back as you bend the wires straight over the front there, scoop it out to the side and up across the band. And what I'm noticing is I've got quite a gap, so I'm going to squeeze that down a little bit. And this side, the weave is kind of floating, so I'm just going to level it all up now, make sure it's all flat. So have a look over the shape of it. I think I'm going to undo my weaves a little, because what I want the weave to come around, and then I want it to stop there. So I'm going to undo that last little bit of weave on both sides, just a little bit on both sides. You undo your weave, take into account that it's going to slide along a little bit. You're going to have to keep pushing it together. When you've got it to the length that you want, you finish with a couple of wraps around one of the sides. Cut that weaving wire and press that little cut end down there. So I've undone the weaves on both sides so they meet the bottom and the top of the weave there. And then holding that weave in place, I'm going to take these wires around the band. They're really long. So if you are making a bigger size, you don't need to use longer wires. We could have got away with a lot less wire on these. I'll leave those up there for now. We'll do the same to the other side. So match up the shape, make sure it's exactly the same. And then when your weave is the right length, take these wires around the band, around the back. Just take them around the back so they're sticking up there. I misshape my band a bit doing that, so get it back on the mandrel if you need to. I really do recommend that you don't go a size thinner on these wires, because it does get weak, and the 0.8 with 3 wires, I wouldn't go any smaller than that. So we've got these 2 wires left, and then we'll finish these. Or shall we finish them first? It's probably best, you know, probably best to finish them first, so then we can get them behind that one. Yeah, we'll do that. So make sure your wires and your weave are nice and flat there, and all we're going to do is bend these wires over and cut them off. So again, taking care not to misshape your band, we're going to just bend them over, press them around the band. Try and get them behind that weave if you can. Again, get it around the mandrel and reshape it if you need to. We've got 2 wires left. take this wire, we're going to go around over the weave, so we've brought it over next to the bead. We're going to put a nice scoop in it to follow that weave like that, so we've got a little bit of a gap between the wire and the weave, and then that wire is going to go around the band as well. So it's quite a simple one this week. I tried to go for a simple weave. 2 like that. We do that for the other side too. So we take this wire and we go around, so we're going over and towards the bead, and then you need to match up the other side, so pull it around. I want a little bit tighter than that, and then scoop it around so you've got a nice gap between the weave and the wire there, and it follows the weave and then holding that there, this goes around the band. Again, the wires are way too long. Bring that around and over. Quite cute. So I do recommend, and I'll mention it on the screen, when we're adding the bead, it feels just a little bit loose, and I've used very thin weaving wire. So even though we went through it like 3 or 4 times, it's best to really secure that down. So if you've got weaving wire that's a little bit thicker, or even half round wire, you could go through that instead just to hold it on a bit tighter. I'm sure it'll be fine because I went round it so many times. So then all we're going to do is finish off these wires with a little curl to the front. So bring the wire around, cut it off. I'm going to do a very small curl to the front there. So with your round nose, so I've got another design I was going to do with this sort of bead shape, so I'll have to share that one with you as well because that's quite nice too. So I had to get it back on the mandrel because I destroyed the shape of it again. I'm a bit heavy-handed, so I think that turned out really nice. I'll run and oxidise and I'll show you. So there we have it, finished. I've oxidised mine. If you'd like help oxidising yours, I've done videos on oxidising and aftercare. I'll put links in the description below. I hope you managed to follow this one, okay? And I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye for now. Bye.